Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Unapologetically Strong on WOVU 95.9 FM. Today we got a special guest. We got a brother, Dante Wade. My man is not in the studio, but he is on the phone. What's going on, Dante?
How's it going, Eric? It's a pleasure to be here.
How you been, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. So just so that you know, Dante is one of them crimson and cream young men. And so if you were in the studio with me, he has, his rug. Is it a rug? No, it's a blanket. I'm sorry. He has his blanket behind him, and I got on my Sigma shirt. So we got to represent. What's going on, man?
Man, all is well. I can't complain. I'm really excited to be here, actually. So just thank you again for having me.
Oh, no doubt, man. I'm glad you were able to join us. We're able to, be a part of this because you are an individual that I truly believe that a fair amount of individuals or people that listen needs to actually connect with. I mean, you are, the jack of all trades. I'll get through your bio in a minute. So you're originally from New Jersey, right? You went to school in PA, went to Lincoln University. Went through a couple different things. You're currently the co-founder and COO, there we go, of REJU, which is a mental health holistic mobile application. So you are an individual that, in my heart, I'm always looking, to connect with. And you're also a brother as well who is looking at this mental health. But before we jump into, your story and what what you're going through or what you've been through, and also your company REJU, I do want to know, the first part of our show, we really get to know our guests and ensure that before we jump into the business of the show, that we get an understanding of who they are. So where are you located as of right now?
Absolutely. So right now I'm actually calling out of Morrisville, North Carolina. I moved here in January of last year.
Nice. So what's the weather like? Because, in Cleveland, what we do is we actually always talk about the weather. I don't know why, but it's life. So what's the weather like? Because you came from New Jersey.
Yeah. So, between 6 in the morning and 9 in the morning, the weather is the same here as it is in New Jersey. But after 9 o'clock, it increases. So it's usually mild. We're probably going to be around 65-ish today.
Got you. And what are you doing in North Carolina?
So, funny story. I'm going to make it short. So
you can make it long. It's all good. We got time, bro.
Yeah. So originally, after Jersey, I moved to Texas. I was there for about a year and a half. With my wife. Mm-hmm. And she was in the Air Force at the time, and she transitioned out of the Air Force, and we had to make a decision what state do we want to go to next.
Right.
And she was going to be getting her nursing degree. Mm-hmm. So she was looking at colleges, and Duke University came up on the list.
Nice.
And as a kid, Duke was my number one choice.
Is that right?
To go to. Yeah.
From New Jersey. Wait. You was from New Jersey and Duke was? Okay.
Yeah. Side story in the story. What made Duke my number one choice? I was like 7 and I was flipping channels for college basketball. And
okay.
I seen Duke beating somebody by 40 points.
Ooh.
And from there I said, you know what? I don't know this school, but they're my favorite. That's my favorite team.
Yeah, we call that a front runner.
Yeah. But I was always good at school, so I had good grades.
Good.
When I was a senior in high school, I actually got to the final round of interviews to get into Duke.
Okay.
But the day the applications were due, they called me and said, you're a recommendation short and you missed the deadline. So I wasn't able to go.
Okay.
Now, to bring this story all the way back full circle, I told my wife, you have to apply to Duke. You got to go because I didn't go, so I'm going to live through you.
Vicarious living.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And she applied and actually got accepted. And I said, let's go.
Okay.
So I know originally I said January of last year, but it was actually January 2 years ago.
Okay.
Time just flies. But yeah, we've been in North Carolina ever since.
Nice, man. Nice. And so how long you been married? Oh, there you go.
No, I always hesitate because we got married before we had an actual wedding.
Oh, gotcha.
And this past February, we celebrated 3 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
And in December, thank you so much. And in December, it'll be like 3 years from our wedding. So I have 2 anniversaries that I always like swirl in my head.
Hey, don't forget the birthday. right?
Oh,
then the first day you met.
Forget that.
Right. So you give her a shout. Go ahead, give her a shout out. Hopefully she listening.
Oh yeah, big shout out to my wife, Alicia Wade. You said don't forget the birthday. I can't because her birthday is the day after mine.
Oh, word. You got, hey, you lucked out on that one. Good deal.
Yeah. It's always a good time. And I always know at least I'm going to have something to do for my birthday because I have to do something.
Right.
So,
hey, I have a friend couple, their birthday on the same day. So, wow. Right. And they Scorpios. So shout out to my Scorpios, but they on the same day. And, you can't miss that out. So you got married, you actually, you got a chance to come down to Duke. So is it all, that you thought it was?
It actually is.
Is it?
Rarely does your imagination match the reality of what you see. But the first time I stepped on campus, the only thing I could compare it to is if somebody watched Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Duke's campus actually looks like Hogwarts to me.
So you all the way there. That's what you're saying.
Oh yeah. They had my nose wide open when I went to campus. I was ready to enroll that day.
Man. Hey, so you going back and wait, you have a bachelor's degree, right? You got a master's?
Yeah. I actually don't.
Okay.
I've been really focused on like certification and just learning. And as you know, through your entrepreneurship journey, that's school all in and of itself.
Bruh, let me tell you. So, but you still got a chance to actually, enroll. So one day you get, take a couple classes, bruh.
Yeah.
Get you a couple classes.
I'm strongly considering.
You strongly consider?
Yeah.
Get you a couple classes, bro. All right. So not only are you the co-creator or co-founder, and COO of REJU, but you're also the assistant vice president of corporate partnerships and core education. What is that?
Absolutely. So, I love startups.
Okay.
Not only did I actually start a startup, I actually work for a startup as well.
Gotcha.
And, it's really a testament to who you know and really surrounding yourself by good people.
Okay.
Because one of my, I'll give him a shout out, Jeffrey Roche, if he's listening. One of my advisors for REJU actually joined CORE and said, hey, we're looking for somebody in corporate partnerships with a focus on IT. And I was actually doing that with my previous employer, but I was interested in open to extra opportunities.
Got you.
And Eric is so funny because when he first asked me if I knew anybody, I automatically started thinking of other people in my network.
Right.
But then I had a conversation with my wife and she said, wait, you do that.
You're a giver, bro. It's all good.
Yeah,
you're a giver.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So I started with them, and what we essentially do is work with small colleges and universities with assisting with generating revenue through online courses and IT, healthcare, and other organizations of that nature. So corporate partnerships, meeting and shaking hands and kissing babies, that's a whole lot of that.
Man, that sounds like politics, bro. That sounds like politics.
It's so interesting you say politics because back in my hometown, back in Newark, I had multiple people come up to me and ask me to get involved in local politics. But I'm pretty sure, I never say never, but I'm pretty sure I'll never get into politics.
That's not you. But you already doing the heavy lifting though. You making the contacts, you doing the thing. So I appreciate that. So before we jump out, so we gotta break in about 5 minutes. What I do want to first, before we jump into this break, because this show is called Unapologetically Strong, I always like to tap into individual strength. And so I always ask my guests this first question is always, where do you find your strength?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I have a strong belief in God and my faith in God and what he's going to do in my life is where I draw my strength. Every day won't be a great day, but I always, I really hone in on that. And that's something that I could attribute my mother with, really focusing on giving me a relationship with God. And I'd say because I have a relationship with God, I know, and I don't want this to sound arrogant, but it's really just my confidence. I know I'm going to get what I want out of life.
Gotcha.
It may not look exactly how I imagined it. Mm-hmm. It may not come exactly when I thought it would come, but because I have a strong faith in God,
right,
I know that as long as I do my part, which I fully intend to do and I've been doing, mm-hmm. I'm going to get everything I want. And that always kind of hones me back and, helps me maintain, especially when I face difficult obstacles.
Right. And I love it because you are an individual that sounds like a giver. You are an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are by nature a giver. They also say that we don't like to work for other people, but yet and still we are a giver as well. So when you feel so full because you created I'm going to just be honest, a competition to some other mental health applications. You literally created competition, and you're also in the business of connectivity, which can drain your energy. So when you're at that point of draining and at that point of, just at your top, what are some of the things that you do just to tap back into that strength? Like, what are some actions that you do?
Yeah, so I'd say the first actions that come to mind, I work out often. Mm-hmm. I try to get to the gym at least 4 times a week. That's my time where I'm not thinking about work at all. Not thinking about work at all. So that's a good way to recenter me.
Right.
The second thing I would say I do is I read.
Good. Okay.
Reading has been an escape for me. Mm-hmm. Ever since I was younger. If ever I was going through a difficult time, I feel like when I open up a book, mm-hmm. I step into that world and outside of my world a little bit. So nice. I try to read often. And the third thing we do is really spending quality time with my family. I have a 1-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. She just started walking, so my parents that are listening know what time man. That
is. you got to have like 8 arms, right? You're an octopus trying to make sure you're getting everything back. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And, spending time with my daughter and my wife, that's really, it recenters me. It helps me focus on what's important in life. And it lets me know that I'm going to figure out the work stuff later. But I need to focus on the now and the moments with family because nothing is guaranteed.
Got you. That is true. Nothing is guaranteed. And, the business that you in is constant fluctuation. I'm not sure about, your duties as assistant vice president, but definitely as an entrepreneur in creating something, you got that fluctuation and you always need something to tap into. You just have to. On the other side, we're going to take a break. On the other side, what I want to know is, one, you have a business degree, right? So you're not a licensed mental health professional, but yet and still you took it upon yourself to actually create something that is geared towards both licensed professional mental health individuals as well as those looking for culturally competent, practitioners. So I do want to talk about that on the other side because I think in this day and age, it's a bit in vogue. Let's be perfectly candid. Mental health right now is in vogue, right? So this is, one of the highest times when individuals are seeking mental health. And now, at times, some of these things are kind of watered down, right? So places, some of these other, not competition, but some of these other organizations, they have what's called a coaching model. And some have what's called a licensed practitioner model, which has a different, type of connection and type of, I'm going to be perfectly honest, revenue stream, right? Mm-hmm. As it relates to, being, presenting the structure of mental health. So what I want to do on the other side, we're going to talk about your app, how you came up with it, seeing as though you're an individual in business. And then we're going to just, see how that, fits your mission of life. All right. Sound good? All right, so we're going to take a quick break. This is Unapologetically Strong on 95.9 FM WOVU. Welcome back to another episode of Unapologetically Strong. I want to give a big shout out during this Women's History Month to all the women that are out there doing big, mad things. Joy King, I'm talking to you as well. Just want to lift up all the women that are doing great. So we do on the phone. We have a brother from Newark, and we got Dante. What's going on, Dante?
How's it going, Eric?
Hey, what's good? What's good? So on the other side, we were talking not only about you and your growth and all the things that you were doing, but we was also talking about this app. So let's break it down just a little bit. So it's called REJU, and when it was introduced to me, the very first thing that I thought about was this concept of now there's a space, a culturally competent location, for individuals that are practicing mental health, as well as those that are looking for culturally competent, clinicians. So when you and I, connected, the very first thing that popped in my head is it's about time, because like I said, I've been in mental health for a while, and it's becoming in vogue to where individuals are not talking about mental health, men, women, children, like the importance of it. So I'm always one that like to strike while the iron hot, and it looks like that's what you did. So tell us a little bit about REJU, and also how did you come to this mission?
Absolutely. So the origins of REJU really go back to Lincoln University, where I went to college. So shout out to the first HBCU, if any of my fellow alum are listening. But the origin starts at Lincoln University, and there I was actually able to meet my fellow co-founders, Aaron Warwick and Greg Wilson. Now, when we were in college, we were able to formulate a friendship from there. Mm-hmm. Navigated college well, and we eventually graduated and went to our separate ways. Now, the thing that most people go through but never talk about is that the blues that you get after graduation, and the struggles that you face. When you're graduating from college, you think you're going to take the world by storm, get the perfect job, meet the perfect partner, and just get your white picket fence and start the American dream. But unfortunately, it wasn't like that for myself, and it wasn't like that for my fellow co-founders. Our journeys were separate but aligned in many ways. For myself personally, I went back to Newark. I was working, I was navigating life, but my grandmother on my mom's side was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and this was the second grandmother that was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she moved in with us. So at this point, I had been living with both of my grandmothers when they were at the height of their illness. And not only the effect that it's seen on them as individuals, it took an effect on the entire family. And anybody who's listening that has had family that suffer from Alzheimer's, that it's something that the people around that individual, the loved ones, suffer too. Yeah. Because essentially they're a shell. Yep. And from that time, I really noticed a decline in my mental health and wellness. Mm-hmm. Now, I could never put a pin in what it was, but I know I've dealt with anxiety for the majority of my life. I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was nervousness, anxiousness, what have you. But during this period of my life, it really reached a peak. And as it was described by a loved one next to me, it looked like my light was dimming. Mm-hmm. So what did I do? The first thing I did was took like a 8-month break off of social media. Okay. I started reading, I really got focused on my physical health more and, my diet. And funny enough, what I started doing is putting in a group chat motivational messages every week. Just put my own motivational messages. And from there, I kind of mustered up the courage because I was getting like good feedback from my motivational messages. I started posting it to Instagram once a week, Monday motivation videos around 1 minute. Now, during that time, my fellow co-founder and CEO of REJU actually reached out and said, hey, I see you're doing things in the mental health space. You're speaking things that are helpful to others. And I want to come together and see if we can build a product based off of that. And that was such a full circle moment because little did he know, I wrote in my journal earlier that year, maybe 7 months prior, that I wanted an app. I just didn't know. I didn't have an IT background, so I wanted an app. So from there, we started working on REJU. And the original intent was just motivational messages, guided meditations, and videos. Now, we worked on that. We were about 6 months into the project, had to start from scratch because we didn't like the direction we were going. And in February 2020, we launched our first MVP under the name Elevate. And as I alluded to earlier, that was really just focused on motivational messages, video, self-challenges, and we had a community forum. But after launching the app, we got some good traction. We had downloads in about 10 countries and 4,000 users total. Mm-hmm. But myself and my fellow co-founders, we actually sat down and thought through, how could we make this product more powerful? Mm-hmm. How could we impact more lives? How could we help more people? And from there, we actually sat down and said, we need to generate profiles for not only therapists, but health practitioners of multiple modalities. So, your yoga instructors, your Reikis, your nutritionists, all the way to your traditional therapists, because these are all people that have a hand in the health and wellness field, which we thought was very important to share with our larger community.
Right.
So, first conversation in 2018, MVP launched in 2020, and now we're in 2024 on the precipice of starting our marketing campaign for our next version of the app that has these therapist profiles.
And so this app is there now. So if anybody's listening, you can open up, is it both Android and iPhone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can go to your app store, whether it's Google app or Apple app or whatever it's called, and you can download REJU. So when I open it up and when I looked at it, I can see that it looks similar, to most social media, right? It has that view and that look. What I like most about it is this concept of adding, motivational aspects to it or adding things. Can you talk about how you've integrated the concept of searching, for a client searching for someone, as well as the integration on how, the clients or the practitioners or anyone in wellness is connected to it? So how did you marry those two together? And to be perfectly honest, that's, in my opinion, is newer. Especially when you're looking at it from a wellness standpoint, is newer than most of our apps out here right now.
Absolutely. So that's a really good question. So I'm going to try to answer every point of it. So it's a nuanced response to that. Mm-hmm. The first thing that we wanted to do really going in was create something comprehensive that actually includes inspirational content as well as the ability to connect with professionals within the health field.
Gotcha.
And the big motivation behind that was, when you think about social media applications, there's some good content on these applications. Mm-hmm. I know social media has gotten a bad rap, but there is good content.
I would say
content
I agree.
You can find up there. Now, what we wanted to do was really build a platform just of good content, where there wouldn't be a mix. You wouldn't have to go find anybody in particular to get that good content. You just open the app and it's all positive. It's all beneficial to your life and health overall. Now, when we think through bringing in the practitioners with the ability to search for different practitioners in different fields, modalities, the thought process behind that was not only making the app comprehensive, but an easy experience for end users. Because quite frankly, I'm a big advocate for therapy. I'm in therapy myself, but therapy isn't the only tool or resource out there to assist people. So we wanted to be intentional about that. And we really wanted to keep in mind building a product that would be helpful to the practitioners and not necessarily super taxing, or they wouldn't have any input or wouldn't have any feedback that they could generate. We really wanted to build something that would be just as helpful for them as it is the end users, because we know with other mental health apps and mobile applications, oftentimes practitioners need to work super long hours in order to make the type of money to sustain themselves properly.
Don't know it.
Yeah. So we really wanted to come up with a solution for them as well as the clients and end users too.
Nice. So when you are an individual searching, so let's say someone downloads it today, they go in, they create their profile. Is that still a part of it, that profile creation? So Absolutely. They create a profile, and once they create a profile, they have an option. Can you talk about the user experience from once, someone creates a profile and looking for someone such as a wellness therapist, mental health therapist, as well as a yoga instructor or Reiki? Can you talk about the user experience?
Absolutely. So once the user is actually finished generating their profile, we have an onboarding process where we look to collect preliminary information to really just get a sense of where they are in their wellness journey. And that information we could actually work with our practitioners and sharing just so they have that ahead of time for anybody that books a session with them. Now, in regards to the experience, you have your homepage that has, your quote of the day, your mood tracker, things of that nature. And once you want to book a session or you actually want to connect with a health practitioner, you can go to your search button and you could either type in a specific modality, or if you know exactly who you're looking for, you can type their name in and they'll pop up from there. But every practitioner has a profile that's on REJU that includes their licensure, their name, their price for a session, and a small about me section where they can really market themselves and say what their specialties are, ideal clients, things of that nature.
Gotcha.
But something we also really wanted to do was create an ability for practitioners to generate their own content. And that's similar to the social media platforms where you could create your blog post, you could post pictures, you can create your videos. And the reason for the practitioner being able to have that capability is so they can market themselves within the REJU ecosystem. Because any video they post will pop up on our Explore page with all of our other content.
Gotcha.
So that's another modality that we really want to be intentional about.
Because it sounds like a combination. So, for me, it sounds like it's social media plus a search engine plus possibly, and you may or this may not be a part of it, some type of communication device between seekers as well as practitioners. So when you decided, or when you both or your partners decided to create that, what were the top three, I guess, possibly apps that you brought together into this one app in order to, reach, the masses that you're reaching now?
Funny enough, the first bit of inspiration I got for REJU, and this is back years ago from the first conversation, first bit of inspiration was actually the Sprinkle of Jesus app. Now, if we recall, because I know that app isn't as prevalent now
right.
back then, but if we recall, that app sent out a daily message, a reminder of sorts for different positive things to think about on the day, and it was tied into the religious aspect of the experience. I liked how you could get a daily reminder to your phone. Hey, make sure to drink those 8 glasses of water.
Right.
Hey, whatever you're going through, you'll get through it. Hey, learn from every mistake you made. I like that reminder because we get reminders when, the basketball game is about to start and somebody just got traded. Like, get a reminder. Get a reminder that's actually going to help you.
Right.
So, that was the first bit of inspiration.
Okay.
And then the second one, of course, is BetterHelp.
Yep.
They're one of the largest in the field. They have a massive marketing campaign. They have market share. And, I actually use BetterHelp. Not currently, but I've used it in the past.
Right.
One, I was doing a little reconnaissance, but I was actually going to therapy in it.
It was a dual, we call that a dual relationship, bro. It's all good.
Oh, yeah. It was beneficial both ways. They got the customer, I got my information, and I got good care. So yeah, that, and there was also the Calm app, which we paid attention to as well, and that's really when we leaned into some of those guided meditations. Because slight sidebar. So I knew how to meditate since I was younger because I did martial arts.
Yeah.
And at the end of every session with martial arts, we would meditate for about a minute. But I separated from that.
Okay.
So with building REJU, we implemented these thing called guided meditations where somebody is actually walking you through the breath, walking you through the positive thoughts that you're taking in and letting go. And I found that to be very powerful because the power of meditation is something that's not spoken about enough when it comes to recentering yourself, relaxing yourself, and really just focus on the things that are important in life. So
exactly.
I know I went off on a tangent. But
you didn't, man. Hey, it happens all the time on this show. It happens. Well, we got to tell you, we got to pay a little bills right quick. So what we're going to do is jump off. But on the other side, what I want, let's jump into that second half of your life or that other part of your life and just see how it connects because, being in I'm not an HBCU graduate. My wife is. She, attended FISC. I'm always looking at entrepreneurship as it relates to HBCUs. And I want to talk a little bit more about what you do, with the corporate partnership and some of the things that you may see, that needs to be added and how you would like to add that to the space. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. This is WOVU 95.9 FM. Welcome back. We got brother Dante Wade on the line. What's going on, man? You still there?
All is well. All is well.
So on the other side, you were, pretty much talking about how REJU came about and how you allowed, a fair, things that you already experienced to come together, right, to create this app. And once again, you can go to the Google App Store or you can go to the Apple App Store and download that app as well. It's REJU. That's REJU. And I think the app is, what is it? Brownish. What is it? It's white, orange, brown, and orange. Is that about right?
Yep. Orange is the primary color. Then we have elements of brown and white.
There you go. Okay. So, but you also have another, right? So you got a day job. So most entrepreneurs, they do a lot of different things. And so you have a day job. And so during your day job, you are the assistant vice president of corporate partnerships and core education. One of the things that you said that you enjoy is business, right? So you have a business degree, from, Lincoln University, right? So,
yep.
Can you talk about how this fostering of entrepreneurship, where did it start and how did it actually grow from your time in Lincoln, at Lincoln University?
Absolutely. So, when we discuss the fostering of entrepreneurship, that actually starts before Lincoln. That starts from, my childhood. My father's a business owner. He owned a restaurant with my uncle that him and my mom still operate till this day. So I grew up around entrepreneurship. That was my first job,
Gotcha.
When you have the family business.
Yeah.
So I've seen what it's like to work for yourself. I've seen, how much time it takes. I've seen what it's like to make decisions that work really well for the business. And I've seen what it's like to make decisions that maybe didn't work so well for the business. But that was always ingrained in me, to have your own. To be able to build something that you could leave behind and really to not answer to anyone, so to speak.
I was wondering if you was going to bring that part up.
Yeah. So, and I say so to speak because there's always going to be decisions that people make that affect you that
right.
you have to go along with. But I don't know, man. I like building with Legos as a kid. I like building things from the ground up. That's the most exciting thing for me. Now, it really got sparked and ignited at Lincoln because I went through a time where I really didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I worked in athletics I was an athlete for a long time. I worked in athletics. I was an athlete for a long time. So I figured I might just work in athletics,
right.
Whether it be for a professional team, a high school, college, what have you. But when I was at Lincoln, we had an entrepreneurship fair.
Yeah.
And in the entrepreneurship fair, essentially my business instructor, Dr. Wright, I hope you're listening. Shout out to her. She actually had us generate business plans and pitch it Shark Tank style to the entire school.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite school assignment out of elementary, high school, college, preparing for that entrepreneurship fair. I didn't win, but just building that business plan, I didn't even really care if I won because building that business plan really excited me to say, you know what, I can do something like this. I could build something.
The experience.
Yep. So it gave me that excitement. And, when you go to an HBCU, you have a bit of a delusional confidence.
I say this all the time, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
You have a bit of a delusional confidence. It's like, you know what? If I have an idea, if something pops in my head, I can make this a reality. I can do it.
Yeah.
And I got a team of people around me looking at your fellow classmates. Because in quite honesty, in all honesty, REJU, we have about 10 team members.
Yeah.
8 of us graduated from Lincoln.
Hey, look, like I said, I didn't graduate from a HBCU. My wife did. And, in talking with her, a lot of her classmates, went on to do amazing things because that is an incubator, right? To go to an HBCU is to be an incubator. And even if you don't go to do the thing that you thought you was going to do, just the experience of being in that incubator with people, so, kudos, because, I personally believe that, and this is what I want to jump into. So Lincoln is a HBCU, right? And I've always been very passionate. I think even before meeting my wife, but definitely after meeting my wife and being married, I'm always passionate about the concept of growth. And when HBCUs were struggling, right? When FISC was struggling because they had to sell, and, a lot of the different, some of the smaller colleges, right? Everyone knows Spelman, Morehouse, right? Howard, Hampton, right? Those are the larger ones, but very few individuals know about the smaller ones. And I had a debate with one of my friends. His wife went to Spelman. He went to, school with me and at the time he was working for Morehouse. And I said, at what point are the HBCUs going to get the point of entrepreneurship, just creating an incubator, just like every HBCU has their patents and whatnot. And so when I met you and talked to you and found a little bit about you, what are your thoughts on that? And how, personally, what are your thoughts about creating an incubator, in HBCUs for specifically creating products?
I think that's a phenomenal idea that should have already started taking place. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because if you go on an HBCU campus, there are entrepreneurs everywhere you turn.
Yeah.
And as cliche as that may sound, somebody's cutting hair.
Yep.
Somebody's doing hair.
Yep.
Somebody's going to be selling drinks under the table during homecoming season. Somebody's going to be, helping. Somebody's going to be a club promoter.
Exactly.
Get in.
DJ. Don't forget the DJ because you got to have the steps, right?
100%. We got a DJ. We got hosts.
Right.
There are a lot of events on campus, so we got hosts. And even, if you think beyond it, I could think of so many examples at Lincoln. There was somebody that had a do-rag brand. Somebody, created brushes. There are so many different businesses that are within the HBCU. And when I think about that, incubator, one, it will be helpful for them to learn some of the obstacles that every entrepreneur goes through outside of the class.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because there are things that, I learned a lot in my entrepreneurship class and my business classes, but there are certain obstacles that you'll go through that you have no idea. And for a lot of small businesses, you have to wear many hats. You have to be CEO, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Marketing Officer, customer service. And every department that I just mentioned has different obstacles, challenges, modalities, victories, and people need to know how to do that in a streamlined way for a small team, which oftentimes isn't talked about. And even beyond that, when I think through all of these small businesses, I believe there needs to be more funding allocated to really investing in some of these small companies, whether it be through pitch competitions, applications, what have you, because Black startup organizations, and I don't even have to say Black, I can say people of color, get less than 2% of venture capital funding.
Exactly.
Less than 2%. Yeah. And when we think about Black women,
they're getting
less than 1%.
Exactly.
So to stop. I shouldn't even say stop. I'm getting on my soapbox.
Hey, it's all good, bro. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. We can't wait for the venture capital dollars, the funding, the larger organizations. Now they are picking up some Black companies, but we can't wait for them when we could do it for our own. We have alumni that are successful.
Man.
We have local businesses that are Black owned that, can do entrepreneurship and mentorship and things of that nature. So I just think it's better for us to come together and, you're tapping into like a big goal of mine to be able to provide funding in this space. But
I love it.
I think it's a great idea.
No, I love it because, we so often when we hear about HBCUs and we hear about, so downtrodden, whether we're talking about in Atlanta, right? Clark, Atlanta, some of the things that are going on or that went on with accreditation and whatnot. I never hear that about certain other organizations or certain other, PWIs or predominantly white institutions. They go to certain places. I remember when I went to University of Akron, they had the Polymer Center right there in the middle of campus, right? So, so Akron, back in the day, Goodyear was the rubber capital. And so University of Akron was the chemical spot where individuals study. And what, when I, got on when I decided to be about my business, of being a good quality student, I was like, well, where's that in HBCUs? Like, where are the institutes, right? Where is, in Georgia, the Institute of whatever, or the, in DC or whatever. And that's something that I hope as the assistant vice president of corporate, partnerships, and core education, that is something that you're pushing for.
100%, because that's exactly what a lot of colleges are missing. HBCUs and beyond. It's that element to bring in some of these big brands and actually build partnerships.
Exactly.
Because think about it, and I've been doing this work for some time. All of these large companies always look to hire.
Yep.
They always look to have interns. They always look to bring in fresh ideas and things of that nature. When we look at HBCUs and organizations such as this nature, you have a talent pool.
Yep.
Right then and there.
Right
and
there.
If you're actually able to come to campus, to spend time, people are actually able to facilitate that partnership, you could build a pipeline of future employees and leaders within an organization.
Yes.
So I definitely think corporate partnerships is something that's missing from a lot of colleges and universities, because I know running a college isn't easy.
Right.
But adding that element of some of these large organizations, especially inside HBCUs, because the larger PWIs are already doing it.
Right.
But adding that element into HBCUs can be so powerful.
Yes.
And I think there was years ago at University of Maryland Eastern Shore, they actually had a partnership with Mercedes. And that, worked really well for students. They were able to operate on cars, administration was involved with that. So I think through little situations like that and say that has to be duplicated with multiple companies across HBCUs.
I love it. So let's take a quick break. We got to pay some bills around here. So we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to just give out some, that's our time to chill, to give out some nuggets, some assistance, even, give out your information. So on the other side, we're going to just, bring it back to, the wellness and how individuals can even assist you, or even how, some items that you have that can assist individuals. So we're going to jump out right quick, pay some bills. This is WOVU 95.9 FM. Welcome back. Unapologetically Strong. We got Brother Dante Wade, husband, father, COO, co-founder, and assistant vice president. Bro, you got a lot of hats and a lot of titles, bro. But what I want to do as we wrap up the show, and land the plane just a little bit, first of all, go ahead and give out some contact information, like emails or social media that people could, reach you at.
100%. So my email is dwade, DWADE, at therejuapp.com. That's THEREJUAPP.com. Follow my company at REJU App on all social media handles. No underscores, no uppercases. And you can follow me on social media at Dante Wade, and my Instagram is _campaign7.
Okay. And so we've talked about the genesis of, REJU. We've also talked about how you allowed yourself to, to be adventurous as well as come out and do this thing. So in the next 2 to 3 years, right, what is it that you see not only for yourself, but also for the wellness of the people you are reaching with this REJU?
Absolutely. So for myself, it's really It's really broad. I want to keep learning.
Okay.
I want to keep growing. I want to lean into, reading more and educating myself, being a better father, a better husband, and a better leader. So for me, the goal is simply to keep learning.
Okay.
To keep scaling my company and to keep affecting lives. And what I see in the next 2 to 3 years for the people that we're serving, my goal is to help as many people find that healing that they need as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that healing could look like getting that inspirational message that gets sent to you, or talking and getting connected with somebody that could give you the tools and resources necessary. But simply put, my goal is to help as many people heal as possible. And in the next 2 to 3 years, I would say really get to our first 1,000 completed sessions through REJU.
Nice. And also for those that are in the mental health field that are independent practitioners, right, or have their own practice, I want you to reach out to Dante because he and I, got connected because he reached out or we connected and wanted to actually collaborate. So you're reaching out to, smaller mental health practices like myself in order to, I guess, populate the profiles for clinicians that you have on your site, which is a little different than what some other individuals are doing. You're actually creating a partnership or a collaboration with those, mental health providers. Can you talk a little bit about that as we go out?
Absolutely. So when you think through having clinicians available for the end users, that's a benefit to the user. But in addition to the users that are actually in the app, what we really want to do is be able to collaborate with organizations to come up with a strategic marketing campaign to expand their brand. And quite frankly, a lot of small practices and small businesses, they need that help and extra resources to get in front of as many people as possible,
exactly.
Albeit in person, virtual engagements, marketing campaigns, things of that nature. So we're really looking to, as we scale, help these smaller organizations scale as well.
Because the way that I saw it was a diversification of revenue. So you have, the way that you have it set up, which is, I really enjoy, is because you have it as a way to diversify the revenue that comes in, right? You go into an agreement with a practitioner, and that practitioner may have their own mental health practice. And so it provides us that, that thing that most, businesses do as they're growing, right? So businesses, they have their front thing that they do, and then they have other collaborations, right? And then they invest, they buy art, right? They buy real estate. So this is for those mental health providers that are listening. This is just simply another way to diversify your actual revenue to where even, you're still doing the thing that you want to do, which is counseling, right? So that's the thing that you want to do. You still are your own boss, but you also have what you do, right? That stage one, and then you have that stage two of revenue growth. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So when we think through the what you do, the know-how, the counselors are the experts in providing service and care in the one-on-one sessions. But what we've been able to actually do is build a book of business for local community organizations and individual end users. Now, what we really look to do when thinking through diversifying, income for some of these small practices is we're looking at small businesses. We're looking at nonprofit organizations, schools, institutions that already have a bulk of people that need to get service.
Right.
And when you talk to some of these nonprofit organizations, a lot of them have funds allocated to mental health wellness services, but they don't know where or who to go to.
Exactly.
And now you have the funding available, you have the people in need, and you have people that are experts and willing to give the service. All we're doing is inserting ourselves in the middle of that process to bring everybody to the table.
Exactly. And I love that because what you're doing is hitting all pots, because it's true. Nonprofit organizations get a fair amount of money, but yet and still they don't have those individuals that are available. By creating that partnership, you're doing exactly what needs to be done. And I really appreciate that. Well, you know what, man? I really appreciate you spending time with me. Go ahead and give that Instagram as well as your IG information again. That way, before we get out and they kick us off the air.
Absolutely. And Eric, I want to thank you again for having me today. I've deeply enjoyed the conversation. I can be found on Instagram at _campaign7. On all social media handles at Dante Wade. And my brand could be at REJU app. Okay. No underscores, no capitals, just REJU app.
All right. Well, thank everybody for listening. I was about to call you D, but Dante, just thank you, man. Just thank you for, coming on the radio. Not only that, but just, being open to collaborating in this, very special field that I feel close to, man. Appreciate you. And I appreciate everybody that is listening. Once again, this is Unapologetically Strong on WOVU 95.9 FM. See you next week. Peace.